Hi, welcome to Fix and Stuff, and today we are going to take a look at this UAG Plyo case for the M1 MacBook Air. So I got this case because the MacBook Air is super thin, so when going traveling I was a bit worried that it may break in the backpack, and also the corners of the MacBook are very thin, so I was worried that maybe if it would fall, having a case would be nice, as I already have UAG cases on all my Apple devices, so the iPhone and the iPad. But unfortunately, this wasn't quite the experience I was expecting from UAG, and we'll get to that in just a minute. First off, let's start with an overview of the case. So it comes in two parts that are pretty different. This one is a hard plastic shell. I hope you can hear that. And this is some kind of like rubbery plastic. You can bend this to go around the screen. This one you can't really bend. I think it will break if you bend it too much. So first observation there. In the middle we have this nice grippy surface. It doesn't look really premium, but it's very grippy, so you can grab your Mac from the side, no problem. Actually, the iPad case I have, so this one is the Metropolis. I also did a review about it, you can check it out there. This one also has the same texture on it, and here it's really nice. I wish they did a MacBook case with everything in that surface, because it really feels great to hold. Here is only the side, but that's still better than nothing. You can grip from the side and still see the aluminium through the plastic case. And of course it also works as the hinge. There is no other hinge mechanism. So yeah, their two parts are quite free to move separately, one from another. So it will help to not break the MacBook, as cases that have hinges on them can put too much pressure in the hinge point on the MacBook or the upper corners of the screen. So it can break the MacBook, and that's not what you want to achieve with a case. So yeah, the design is quite well thought out of, I think. On the bottom and the top we have some UAG branding, also little anti-slipping pads in the corners. These work very well. There is no fear of the MacBook slipping with this on. This is actually my favorite feature of this case. There is this little star in the middle for the design. That's exactly the same as on the Metropolis cases for the iPads. So yeah, these do make a like matching set if you have both. And final observation is that these corners are very big, so when the MacBook is closed, the corners from the screen part will protect the whole corner of the MacBook, so the screen and the bottom part. So now let's install the MacBook. First we'll begin with the keyboard part of the laptop. So just push it in place. And when you push it, these little clips go over the MacBook. So as I have removed the case a few times already, some of these clips break when you remove the iPad, as they are really small. I have one broken here and one there. So yeah, this process of putting the MacBook in and out of the case is something like you do it once and then you leave it. You can't like change the case too often, as it will damage it if you're not careful. Now that the bottom is installed, we can also fit the screen in the case. And same deal, we'll have to push it in place so that the little tabs go over the screen. So after a few minutes of work, we have now the MacBook protected with the case. So all the edges and the corners are protected with this bending rubber that will give it some drop protection. I haven't dropped it, so I can't really say how well it protects, but it will hopefully add some protection from like smaller drops. Also, it protects against scratches, and that's especially important for the bottom, as when you slide your MacBook around the table, it can leave some scuff marks on the aluminum if you're not careful. However, first little feature or inconvenience, depends how you see it, is the fact that now you can't open the MacBook like you're used to, because in the corners there is a little locking mechanism, so you need to pull these corners away from the laptop so they disengage. And now you can open the screen. Also, you can see there the little tabs of the plastic that make it locked. You can actually trim those with a small cutter, or a snipping tool so that you don't have to use both hands to open a laptop. Haven't yet done so, but maybe I will, as this feature is a bit annoying. Also, a little feature that UAG added is that with the case installed, there is a 1mm gap between the screen and the body of the laptop. So if, for example, you like to have a sticker or a post-it on your webcam, this will help prevent brushing your screen when the laptop is closed. Now that we have taken a look about the case itself, here is my review about it after a few months of use and why I'm thinking about selling this case and not using a case at all in the future for my laptop. So, even though it does protect it from scratches, one big disadvantage of this case is that it feels very cheap, especially in the bottom part. I mean, this feels like a child's laptop. There is no Apple vibe to the case anymore. You know, when you take an Apple product like an iPhone or a MacBook, the materials that you can touch are like half of the Apple experience. Here, because everything is covered up, you can't like feel all the great materials. And also one thing that's very unfortunate is that your very slim and sleek laptop is turned quite thick. So yeah, for gripping it's good, but it really doesn't feel like a Apple product anymore. It really feels like an industrial tool. So this is something that, I mean, you can guess from looking at the photos online. And as someone who really likes rugged devices myself, I thought that this won't be any issue. But actually having a case feel this cheap on such a premium device is a bit unfortunate. So that's one of the reasons I'm thinking about removing this case. And the biggest inconvenience of this case is the fact that for the screen it adds quite a lot of weight. So the stock MacBook, you can open and close it with one finger, no problem. It will stay in place when you let it go. However, with the case installed, as you can see, the hinge doesn't have the same resistance anymore as it used to. The case is here, as you can see, pulling it down, and also the other way around when it's past the 90 degrees. You can feel it pull the screen the other way. So yeah, this is something that's really not satisfying at all. Also, when you are taking the laptop from the table, you can see that the added weight is moving the screen around. So it's really floppy when the case is attached. So only is that not satisfying at all, but it also feels very dangerous. If you pick the laptop up too fast, there is the risk of breaking the hinges or the screen. So you have to be extra careful with the screen when the case is installed. One other disadvantage of this case is that it also makes the MacBook bigger in the diagonals. So when you have a sleek case like this with a really satisfying interior, without the case, this would slide in there like buttery smooth, like 1 second is in there. With the case installed, as the rubber is a bit grippy, it's harder. And then once you have it in the pouch, it's a really tight fit to close the zipper. So again, not something you would want to do multiple times a day. So yeah, those are for me the big disadvantages of the case. So the cheap feel, the thickness, the added weight of the screen, and finally the fact that it's hard to fit it in the pouch. If those three are elements that don't matter to you, well, I think this case will be perfect for you, as there of course are also some big advantages for this case. As I said, the grip is really satisfying. There's no fear holding the case like this, as even with like wet or dusty hands, this is still comfortable to use. Speaking about dust and dirt, well, also it protects your expensive MacBook from any scratches, helping to keep its value. And of course, the little pads on the bottom are very good to avoid scratching the bottom and to keep the MacBook in place. So that was my review of the UAG Plyo MacBook Air case. I hope this review video was useful to you. If that's the case, please leave a comment down below so other people know this video is useful, as YouTube removed the like and dislike button. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.